Moon Palace, Chapter 12. Wei Lang shouted, "Wait!" as he caught up to Mei Ling, who was just about to get into her driver's seat. She turned and said, "I need to get home." He shook his head. "You are in no condition to drive." "I will be fine." "I don't think so." Mei Ling stared at him and scoffed. "What do you think I should do, walk home?" Wei Ling's eyebrow raised. Under the bright street light, he noticed her eyes were bloodshot and swollen. He asked tenderly, "Have you been crying?" His question only motivated her to leave the scene. She figured if she did not get home now, she might pass out. She snapped, "I don't think it's any of your business. I've got to go." He took a deep breath and pulled her away from the driver's side. "What are you doing?" Mei Ling was startled. "I can't let you drive," he replied, and dragged her to the passenger side and put her inside the car. As he got into the driver's seat, he commanded, "Give me the key." Mei Ling was shocked by his forceful behavior and reached for the door handle. When she just about to push out, Wei Lang grabbed the key out of her hand and inserted it into the ignition. He asked, "Where do you live?" It was deep into the night, and the air was freezing. The traffic was light and the sidewalks were empty. Mei Ling was feeling nauseated as Wei Lang zoomed down the street much faster than the speed limit. She tilted her head back, trying to hold down whatever it was coming out of her throat. She rolled down the window, hoping the cold wind would calm her stomach. Instead, it made her shiver. Wei Lang glanced over and asked, "Are you all right?" She shook her head. "I think I'm going to throw up." His ears perked up, and he pressed the gas pedal all the way down, passing the ramp to Lakeshore Drive. He sped through the tunnel below and parked along an empty road next to a grass field. Mei Ling opened the door and stuck her head out. The curb by the passenger side was covered with a brown stain with traces of fruit fragments. There was not much else coming out of her except what she drank. She had not eaten anything all day. She felt her stomach turning and saw the pavement spinning. She felt as if she was upside down. Wei Lang took off his jacket and placed it over her. She shook her head and said, "I might throw up again." "Don't worry," he replied, and pulled some tissue out of a box and handed it to her. She took the tissues and wiped her lips. The smell of her stomach acid made her even more nauseated. She leaned back against the seat. "Feeling better?" he asked. She nodded. "Yes, thank you." She was grateful that he helped her. She probably would not be able to make it home on her own. Just then she realized she could have called a cab. Wei Lang turned the car around and headed towards Lakeshore Drive. There were not many cars around, but Wei Lang slowed down and drove under the speed limit. He looked over to Mei Ling, whose eyes kept closing in on her. She tried to stay awake by lifting her eyebrow and staring to the distance. But just when he asked, "Where do I exit?" her eyes shut completely and her head turned to her side.